My mother said that my children could watch the birthday party via live stream. My sister added that my children have a negative impact on hers. So, I took my kids to Disneyland. They panicked when I did not also take my sister's children. I have 2 children. Emma is 8 years old and Lucas is 6. They are normal kids. They play. They laugh. Sometimes they fight over toys. Nothing out of the ordinary. My sister Jennifer has 3 children. Olivia is 9, and the twins, Brody and Ashton, are 7 according to my family. Her children are exceptional, gifted, destined for greatness according to my family. My children are too loud, too restless. Do everything. This started years ago when Emma was barely a baby. While playing, she knocked over a vase in my parents' house. It was an accident. She was 2 years old. But Jennifer made a huge scene. Her children would never do something like that. From that day on, my children were marked as the problematic ones. Every family gathering became a comparison competition. Olivia reads at a 5th grade level. Why is Emma still reading books with pictures? The twins are in travel soccer. Why does Lucas not play any sports? I stopped defending my children out loud. It never did any good. I just hugged them tighter and told them they were perfect, just as they were 2 weeks ago. My mother called about Olivia's birthday, who's going to throw a huge event, bounce houses, catered food, a princess appearance. All the cousins were invited except mine. Your children can watch it via live stream. My mother said, we are going to broadcast it for family who cannot attend. Children do not live in another state. I live 20 minutes away. I know, but Jennifer thinks it is for the best. I felt my stomach turn. Best for whom? She said Emma and Lucas have a negative impact on her children. They overstimulate them when your kids are around. I stayed silent for a long while. So my children are banned from their cousin's birthday party. Not banned, just it is not different. It was not different was exactly what it seemed. I hung up without arguing. That night Jennifer texted me directly. Sorry, but it is true. Your kids are too much and mine need a calm environment to thrive. You understand, right? Number. I did not respond. I sat down to dinner with my children and watched them eat chicken nuggets while they told me about their day. Emma told me a story about her best friend. Lucas showed me a drawing he had made of our dog. These were the children my family called a negative impact. That weekend was Olivia's party Saturday afternoon. I had already decided what we were going to do instead. I woke my children up early that morning and told them we were going on an adventure. I drove 3 hours to Disneyland. I had booked a hotel the night before. 2 days in the park, character breakfast. Everything included. Emma cried when she saw the princess at Disneyland. It was not a silent cry. It was the kind of crying that breaks a mother's chest. Tears running down her cheeks as she pointed with a trembling finger. Mom. It is Elsa. Really, it is her. Lucas was also crying beside me. I want to hug her. I took them toward the princess. Emma was trembling with excitement. The actress knelt down, hugged her. Emma buried her face in the bright blue dress. You are real too, princess. I took photos, lots of photos. Every angle, every smile. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I ignored the first 5 calls, but the vibrations did not stop. 17 missed calls from my mother. 23 messages from Jennifer. 9 from my father. I did not open them. Mom, can we ride that one? Lucas pointed at Space Mountain. Sure, let us go. While we waited in line, I finally checked the messages. Jenny, where are you? The party already started. Jennifer, Mom is asking about you, Jennifer. This is ridiculous, answered Jennifer. Olivia is crying because her cousins are not here, Jennifer. Emma and Lucas ruined her day. I hope you are happy, responded with a single photo. Emma and Lucas smiling in front of the castle. 30 seconds later, my phone exploded. My mother called. I did not answer. She called again. I did not answer that either. Jennifer texted me, you are at Disneyland, seriously. I did not respond. She kept writing. This is incredibly selfish. What about my children who also wanted to go? I cannot believe you are so cruel. Mom is furious with you. I locked my phone and put it away. Mom, look. That man makes figures with balloons. Emma pointed at a street performer. Do you want one? Yes. We spent the rest of the day forgetting everything. Roller coasters, cotton candy. Photos. With Mickey Mouse. Lucas hugged me while we waited for the nighttime parade. This is the best day of my life. Better than your birthday. Much better, because it is just the 3 of us. Emma nodded without anyone saying. We are noisy. My chest tightened. You are not noisy, you are perfect. Grandma says we bother the twins. Grandma is wrong. Emma looked at me with those big brown eyes. Why does she not love us? I did not have an answer that would not hurt them. So I told the truth. Sometimes people are wrong about what is important. But I am never wrong about you. You are the most important thing in my life. That night in the hotel. The children fell asleep almost instantly. Emma hugging her new Elsa stuffed animal. Lucas, with his light-up sword turned off on his chest. I sat on the bed and finally opened my phone. 53 notifications. I read all the messages. My mother, I cannot believe you did this to us. Jennifer is destroyed. Olivia cried all afternoon, asking about Emma and Lucas. What kind of aunt are you? My father, you need to come back and apologize. Got out of control. Jennifer, you know what, do what you want. But do not expect my children to want anything to do with yours. After this, you taught them to be selfish just like you. And then the message that made me stop. Mom says, you are not welcome at Thanksgiving if you continue with this attitude. I read that message 3 times. It was not the first time they had excluded me, but it was the first time they put it in writing. I locked the phone and looked at my sleeping children. I did not regret anything. The next day was even better than the first. Had breakfast with Mickey and Minnie at the hotel restaurant. Emma told Mickey about school. Lucas showed him his drawing. You know what, Mickey? My mom is the best in the world. Mickey nodded exaggeratedly and gave me a thumbs up. Your mom is magical. Emma laughed. It's true, she brought us here without saying anything. It was a surprise. We went back to the park. We wrote everything we had not written the day before. We bought souvenirs at Churros until our stomachs hurt. My phone kept vibrating. I did not check it anymore. For in the afternoon, sitting on a bench eating ice cream, Emma asked, do we have to go back tomorrow? Yes, sweetheart. Are we going to see Grandma? I do not know, yet Lucas licked his ice cream. I would rather not see her. She always says make too much noise. I would rather not see her either. Emma added, she tells me I should be more like Olivia. I felt rage, pure rage. You do not have to be like anyone. You are perfect being yourselves. We know, Mom. You always tell us that, but. Emma looked down, and Aunt Jennifer, do not say it. So sometimes, I am not sure. I knelt in front of her. Listen to me carefully. What they say does not matter. What matters is what I say. I say you are incredible. Do you believe me? I believe you. Are you sure? That night, our last at the hotel, we ordered room service pizza and fries. We watched a movie lying on the king-size bed together. Lucas fell asleep first. Emma fought to keep her eyes open. Mom, yes. Thank you for this. You are welcome, sweetheart. Not just for Disneyland, for always protecting us. My eyes filled with tears. I will always protect you, always. Emma closed her eyes. I know. When they were both sound asleep, I finally opened my phone. 92 notifications. I did not read them all. I looked for the most recent ones. My mother, since you decided to ignore us. Jennifer and I have also made a decision. You are not welcome at any family gathering until you apologize. Appropriately to Olivia for ruining her special day. By the way, Olivia asked why Emma and Lucas do not love her. I had to lie and tell her they were sick. Thanks for forcing me to lie to my daughter. My father, your mother, is very upset. I think you exaggerated this time. You could have taken all the children. I do not understand why you had to make a problem out of this. I saw a response. I deleted it. I wrote another. I deleted that too. Finally, I wrote something simple to my mother. Understood. Thank you for clarifying things to Jennifer. I did not ask you to lie to her. I pressed send and turned the phone off completely. I didn't just lock the screen. I held the power button down until the screen went black. I placed it face down on the hotel nightstand, feeling a strange, hollow lightness in my chest. It was the feeling of a heavy chain finally snapping. The room was quiet, save for the rhythmic, soft breathing of Emma and Lucas. I lay down between them, pulling the heavy hotel duvet over us. Lucas rolled over, throwing a small, warm arm across my stomach. Emma sighed in her sleep, her grip tightening on the Elsa doll. For the first time in 8 years, I didn't dread the next family holiday. I didn't feel the familiar, suffocating knot of anxiety about what to wear, how to keep my kids quiet, or how to deflect my mother's passive-aggressive comments. There was no next holiday. I had set us free. The drive home the next morning was bathed in golden California sunlight. The kids were exhausted but glowing, chatting nonstop about the rides, the characters, and the churros. When we finally pulled into our driveway, the real world was waiting, but it didn't look as intimidating anymore. I turned my phone back on while the kids were carrying their bags inside. Voicemails popped up. Texts cascaded down the screen. I didn't read them. Instead, I went into my settings and blocked Jennifer's number. Then, after a moment's hesitation, I blocked my mother and my father. I didn't block them forever, I told myself at first. Just for a week. Just long enough to breathe. But a week turned into a month, and the silence in our house became something sacred. Without the looming shadow of the golden grandkids, the atmosphere shifted entirely. The tension I hadn't even realized I was carrying in my shoulders melted away, and my children noticed. Children are like sponges. They absorb the energy of the adults around them. With my anxiety gone, Emma and Lucas bloomed. One Tuesday in early November, Emma came home from school with a piece of paper gripped tightly in her hand. She slammed the front door, Too loud, exactly the kind of noise that used to make me flinch in anticipation of my mother's scolding, and ran into the kitchen.
Mom.
Look, it was a reading comprehension test. At the top, written in bright red marker, was a perfect score and a gold star. Emma, this is amazing, I said, pulling her into a hug. Mrs. Gable says I can move up to the chapter book group, Emma said, her brown eyes shining. She said I read perfectly fine. I just needed to take my time and not be so nervous. Not be so nervous. I felt a lump in my throat. Emma had always struggled with reading out loud because my mother and Jennifer used to make her read at family dinners, only to interrupt her and loudly praise Olivia's advanced vocabulary right in front of her. My daughter wasn't behind. She was just terrified of being humiliated. I am so incredibly proud of you, I whispered, kissing the top of her head. Can we put it on the fridge? We're going to frame it, I promised. Lucas, too, was finding his footing. I signed him up for a local recreational soccer league. It wasn't the elite, high-pressure travel team the twins played on. It was a chaotic, muddy, joyful mess of 6-year-olds chasing a ball, like a swarm of bees. Lucas wasn't the fastest and he tripped over his own feet more than once, but he laughed the entire time. When he scored his first goal, accidentally kicking it backward off his heel, he threw his arms in the air like he'd won the World Cup. I cheered so loudly from the sidelines that my throat ached. There were no critical eyes analyzing his footwork. No aunts whispering about his lack of athletic destiny. There was just a little boy playing in the grass. 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, the doorbell rang. I was in the middle of making a Sunday roast. Emma and Lucas were in the living room, building an elaborate fort out of sofa cushions and blankets. They were arguing loudly over who got to be the king of the castle. It was noisy. It was perfectly normal. I wiped my hands on a towel and opened the door. My parents stood on the porch. My mother wore her immaculate beige trench coat, her lips pressed into a thin line. My father stood slightly behind her, his hands buried deep in his pockets, looking everywhere but at my face. You blocked us, my mother said. No greeting. No, how are you? Just the accusation. I did. I replied evenly, not opening the screen door. Are you going to invite us in? She demanded, gesturing toward the cold autumn air.
No, Mom.
The kids are playing. What do you need? My father finally looked at me, his face drawn. We came to talk about Thanksgiving. This silent treatment has gone on long enough. You're tearing the family apart over a birthday party. You made your point with that ridiculous Disneyland stunt. Now it's time to grow up, apologize to your sister, and come to dinner next week. I looked at him. I looked at this man who had stood by for 8 years while his other daughter bullied my children, who had watched his wife treat my kids like second-class citizens. I'm not tearing the family apart, I said, my voice steady, though my heart was hammering against my ribs. I am protecting my family. You told me I wasn't welcome unless I apologized for taking my own children on a vacation. I'm respecting your boundaries. We won't be, at Thanksgiving. You are being incredibly selfish. My mother hissed, her veneer of composure cracking. Jennifer has been an absolute wreck. Do you know how hard it was for her to explain to her friends why you weren't at Olivia's party? And then to have you flaunt that trip on the internet? Her children were crying because they didn't get to meet Elsa. Then Jennifer can take them to meet Elsa, I said simply. She has the money. She has the time. My children's joy does not steal from hers. You did it to spite her. I did it to comfort them, I corrected, pointing back toward the living room. You told an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old that they weren't good enough to attend their cousin's party. You told them to watch it on a screen like strangers. Do you have any idea what that does to a child? They are too much, my mother yelled, finally saying the quiet part out loud. They are loud, they are undisciplined, and they ruin things. Olivia's party was a high-end, catered event. It wasn't a playground. We just wanted one perfect day, without your two breaking something or screaming. The silence that followed her outburst was heavy. I saw my father wince, realizing she had gone too far. I felt a cold, clear calm wash over me. The last remaining thread of guilt evaporated. Thank you, I said softly. My mother blinked, caught off guard. What? Thank you for finally being honest. For 8 years, I thought I was failing as a mother because my kids acted like kids. I thought I needed to fix them to make you love them. But the problem isn't them. It's you. You don't want grandchildren. You want ornaments. How dare you speak to me like that? I am a mother first, I interrupted, my voice dropping to a low, fierce register. And my job is to make sure those two beautiful, messy, loud kids know that they are loved unconditionally. You don't love them that way, so you don't get to see them. You can't keep my grandchildren from me, my mother gasped. Watch me, I said. Happy Thanksgiving, Mom. Goodbye, Dad. I closed the wooden door, locked the deadbolt, and leaned against it. My hands were shaking, but I didn't cry. Mom, I looked up. Emma was standing at the edge of the hallway, holding a throw pillow like a shield. Was that Grandma? Yes, baby, it was. Is she mad? I walked over, knelt down, and looked her right in the eyes. She is. But that's okay. It's not our problem. Are we going to their house for turkey? Lucas yelled from inside the cushion fort. Nope, I called back, plastering a wide smile on my face. I was thinking this year, we could make our own Thanksgiving. Just the three of us. And we can eat pie for breakfast. Lucas's had popped out from the blankets, his eyes wide. Pie? For breakfast. You heard me. Emma dropped the pillow and smiled, a genuine, relaxed smile. Can we watch movies in our pajamas all day? All day, I promised. Thanksgiving was exactly what we wanted it to be. Messy, loud, and filled with laughter. We didn't have a perfectly roasted turkey. We had a slightly burnt chicken and a mountain of mashed potatoes. We ate apple pie at 9 a.m. while watching cartoons. I took a picture of Emma and Lucas, wearing whipped cream on their noses, and set it as my phone background. I didn't post it on social media. I didn't need an audience anymore. I just needed them. Winter turned into spring. The months passed rapidly, filled with school projects, soccer games, and quiet weekends. We developed our own traditions. Friday night was pizza and board games. Sunday mornings were for pancakes and loud 80s music in the kitchen. I heard through the grapevine, a mutual friend who occasionally texted me, that Jennifer's perfect facade was beginning to crack. Without me there to act as the family scapegoat, Jennifer had turned her hypercritical eye onto our parents, and things had gotten ugly over Christmas. The twins were burned out from daily soccer practices, and Olivia had developed severe anxiety, biting her nails until they bled. I felt a pang of sorrow for my nieces and nephews. They were just kids, trapped in an environment where love was entirely conditional on their performance. But I couldn't save them. I could only save my own. In May, our town hosted a massive spring festival in the Central Park. There were food trucks, carnival games, and an arts and crafts showcase for the local elementary schools. Emma had spent 3 weeks working on a diorama of the solar system for the science pavilion. She had painted the planets with glow-in-the-dark paint, and Lucas had helped her glue tiny plastic stars all over the cardboard box. We were standing in front of her project, eating cotton candy, when I heard the voice. Oh, you're here. I turned. It was Jennifer. She looked tired. Her usually flawless blonde hair was pulled into a messy ponytail, and the designer sunglasses resting on her head couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes. Next to her stood Olivia, looking pale and miserable, holding a half-eaten pretzel. The twins were nowhere to be seen. My instinct was to grab my kids and walk away, but I caught myself. I wasn't going to run in my own town. Hi, Jennifer, I said calmly. Jennifer looked at Emma, then at the diorama. Her eyes scanned the little painted planets. Cute project, she said, the word dripping with condescension. Olivia's school is doing a robotics exhibition next week. She built a functioning claw machine. I didn't take the bait. I didn't defend Emma's cardboard box. I just smiled. That sounds great. I hope she has fun. Jennifer frowned, clearly thrown off by my lack of defensiveness. She looked at Lucas, who was spinning in circles, trying to catch the end of his cotton candy on his tongue. Still letting them run wild, I see, Jennifer muttered, crossing her arms. Mom said you completely lost your mind at Thanksgiving, banning them from your house. Really? You're punishing your own children just because you can't handle a little constructive criticism. Before I could speak, Emma stepped forward. She wasn't hiding behind my legs. She wasn't trembling. She looked up at her aunt with calm, clear brown eyes. Grandma wasn't giving construction criticism, Emma said, mispronouncing the word but delivering the sentence with startling clarity. Grandma is mean, and we're not punished. We have fun now. Jennifer gasped, her hand flying to her chest. Excuse me? Do you let her speak to adults like that? I let her tell the truth, I said, putting a hand on Emma's shoulder. Olivia, who had been staring at the ground, finally looked up. She looked at Emma, then at Lucas, and then at me. I liked your pictures from Disneyland, Olivia said softly. It looked really fun. Olivia, hush, Jennifer snapped. Olivia shrank back, her shoulders hunching inward. It broke my heart to see the light extinguish from her eyes so quickly. It was fun, Emma said to Olivia, ignoring Jennifer entirely. Next time you have a birthday, you should tell your mom you want to go there instead of having a boring party for grown-ups. Jennifer's face turned bright red. Okay, we are leaving. Come on, Olivia. Wait, Olivia said, her voice shaking slightly. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, beaded bracelet. She held it out to Emma. I made this. I tried to give it to Grandma to give to you at Christmas, but she said you guys weren't accepting gifts. My stomach turned. My mother had lied to a 9-year-old child to maintain her narrative. Emma took the bracelet. It was slightly lopsided, with brightly colored plastic beads. Thank you, Livy. I love it. Olivia. Now, Jennifer grabbed her daughter's arm and pulled her away. Olivia looked back over her shoulder, giving a small, sad wave before disappearing into the crowd. I looked down at Emma. She was slipping the bracelet onto her wrist. "She's sad, Mom," Emma said quietly. "Aunt Jenny makes her sad." "I know, sweetheart. I know." "I'm glad you're my mom," Lucas mumbled, his face entirely covered in sticky pink sugar. I laughed, the sound bubbling up from deep in my chest, light and free. I pulled out a wet wipe and began scrubbing his face. "I'm glad I'm your mom, too, buddy." As we walked away from the science pavilion, heading toward the Ferris wheel, the sun began to set, casting long, golden shadows across the park. The air was warm, filled with the smell of popcorn and the sound of distant music. I watched my children run ahead of me. They were laughing, their voices ringing out loud and clear over the noise of the crowd. They took up space. They were messy. They were loud. They were entirely, unapologetically themselves. I thought about the live stream. I thought about the message my mother had sent, telling me my kids were a negative impact, telling them to watch from the sidelines. They weren't watching from the sidelines anymore. And neither was I. We were right in the middle of the ride, screaming and laughing at the top of our lungs, and it was the most beautiful noise I had ever heard.